गुड इवनिंग एवरीबडी, वेलकम टू क्यूरियस माइंड्स। आज का जो हमारा टॉपिक है वो है सोशियोलॉजी क्लास 12th का चैप्टर 5th विच इज़ पैटर्न्स ऑफ सोशल इनइक्वालिटी एंड एक्सक्लूजन। और ये है पार्ट 3 ऑफ द वीडियो। दिस इज़ द नेक्स्ट पार्ट ऑफ 5.2 ऑफ योर बुक। ओके, बिफोर वी स्टार्ट कुछ इंपॉर्टेंट बातें हैं। वेरी फर्स्ट इज़, अगर तो शॉर्ट फॉर्म्स यूज्ड है तो आप प्लीज़ शॉर्ट फॉर्म्स ना लिखें, आप उसे फुल फॉर्म्स में लिखें, बिकॉज एग्ज़ाम्स में जो शॉर्ट फॉर्म्स हैं उनके मार्क्स कट होते हैं फर्स्टली। ओके, सेकेंडली इज़ that if you're liking the video, please share and subscribe, and if you have any recommendations, please you can write it in the comment section below. So let's start with the video. The very first thing what we are going to study is state and non-state initiatives addressing caste and tribe discrimination. ठीक है, so सबसे पहले we are going to start with state initiatives. First is the schedules. देखिए, जब हम स्केड्यूल कास्ट या स्केड्यूल ट्राइब बोलते हैं तो उसमें वर्ड आता है स्केड्यूल। नाउ दीज आर द लिस्ट्स, ठीक है, इन विच द कास्ट एंड द ट्राइब्स विच आर रिकग्नाइज्ड, ठीक है, विच आर रिकग्नाइज्ड टू डिजर्व स्पेशल ट्रीटमेंट बिकॉज ऑफ मैसिव डिस्क्रिमिनेशन वर ड्रॉन. Now these were drawn in 1935. Okay, so these lists contain those castes and tribes which are recognized to deserve special treatment because of massive discrimination against them. Okay, and these were drawn in 1935 by the British India government. Now government is written in short form. You have to write the entire word, because also you have to write the entire word. So after independence, what happened was basically many additions were done, but most significant addition is like extension of special programs to OBCs, other backward classes, which we are going to study further. ठीक है, and this happened since early 1990s. Next initiative, हम states के initiative कर रहे हैं, right? So next can be reservations, which is a very important and significant addition. Now reservation is setting aside of some places or some seats for the members of SCs and STs in different spheres in public life. Okay, for example in state and central legislatures, for example in state assemblies or the Lok Sabha or the Rajya Sabha. Okay, or it may be reservations of jobs in government services across all departments. Okay, now the proportion of reserved seats is basically equal to the percentage share of SCs and STs in total population. This is how seats are reserved. Okay, they're basically a percentage share of SC STs in the total population. So these are state initiatives. Further also we'll do some more state initiatives. For example, other laws are Caste Disabilities Removal Act of 1850. Now this disallowed the curtailment of rights of citizens due to change of religion or caste solely. That is, कोई भी curtailment अगर citizens को है, अगर उन्हें रोका जा रहा है because of their religion or their change of religion या caste, okay, that was disallowed. Now 93rd amendment, next is 93rd amendment. Here reservation for OBCs in institutions of higher education was introduced. ठीक है, OBCs को भी reservation extend किया गया है. Next is SC ST Prevention of Atrocities Act of 1989. This is another act. Then we have Constitution of India. We all know it was passed in 1950, and we have this Article 17 which abolished untouchability. So Constitution also is basically state initiative only. Next, we have to understand that despite of all these state initiatives, state action alone cannot ensure social change. For social change, certain non-state initiatives also stand equally significant. For example, ज्योतिराव फूले सत्यशोधक मूवमेंट. ओके, इसमें क्या था? इमेंसिपेशन ऑफ लो कास्ट्स. दिस इज अगेंस्ट ब्राह्मणिक डोमिनियन ऑल्सो. देन वी हैव जस्टिस पार्टी मूवमेंट, TM नैयर. दिस इज अगेंस्ट ब्राह्मणिक मूवमेंट, ब्राह्मणिक डोमिनियन अगेन. ओके, अब कंटेम्प्रेरी टाइम्स में देखा जाए तो देयर इज अ कंटेम्प्रेरी पोलिटिकल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन BSP, बहुजन समाजवादी पार्टी इन UP. सो through this we can understand that Dalit political assertion has come a long way. Okay, so these were some of the state initiatives and some of the non-state initiatives. Next topic which we're going to do is other backward classes or OBCs. Now, who are OBCs? They basically were a large group of castes that were of low status Okay. Plus, they were also subjected to varying levels of discrimination, just short of untouchability, which means that yes, they were subjected to discrimination, but not at the level of untouchability. Okay, they were just above them. So these were services and artisanal castes, who all people who provided such services, or people who belong to artisanal castes. The Constitution of India recognized the possibility that there may be groups other than SCs or STs who also suffer from social disadvantages. Now here again you have to write disadvantages. Okay, so our constitution has also recognized that there can be certain groups which are not SCs or STs, and these groups could also suffer from social disadvantages. So these groups need not be based on caste alone, but generally are identified by caste. Now these were described as socially and educationally backward classes. So the term constitution use करती है for them is other backward classes, or the OBCs. Now OBCs are defined negatively by what they are not. Okay, and they are neither included in forward castes as in the upper caste, ठीक है, upper spectrum में नहीं है, and nor the Dalits which come in the lower spectrum of society. Since caste has entered all major Indian religions, therefore there are members of other religion also who belong to OBCs. We have to understand that OBCs is not they do not belong to a particular religion. Why? Because caste has entered all major Indian religions. So it is not right to say that caste only belongs to Hinduism, because it has penetrated to all major religions. So other members or other members of different religions can also belong to OBCs. Next, what we are going to do is regarding OBCs. So hence one can understand that OBCs are a much more diverse group. Why? Because we've understood that caste has penetrated in different religions. So they are diverse group in comparison to Dalit or the Adivasis. So now that we understand, the first backward classes commission, which was headed by Kelkar, which is also known as Kelkar Committee, came in 1953. But it was sidelined, and it was mostly pursued at state level and not at central level. Then southern states had a long history of backward caste political agitation. So they've seen it, as I've already explained, T.M. Nayyar's movement also is there. So therefore in South India, policies were in place much before they were even discussed in most northern states, which means that northern states had not yet discussed regarding backward castes, okay, whereas there were certain policies to prevent any discrimination against backward castes in southern India. So OBC issue returned in the late 1970s, which was after the emergency, okay, when Janata Party came to power. So we have second backward class commission. Now this is a very famous commission, okay, this is also Mandal commission. Why? Because it was headed by BP Mandal, okay. But it was only in 1990s that central government took it up. And there are large disparities between upper OBCs and lower OBCs. You have to understand that upper OBCs enjoy dominance in rural society, and the lower OBCs, who are very poor and they're disadvantaged, and they're not very different from Dalits in socioeconomic terms, okay. So there is a difference. That is why nowadays government is trying to separate the creamy layer, okay, the upper OBCs from the lower OBCs, because generally it is seen that all the benefits, they go to upper OBCs. So for removing that factor, government is trying to segregate creamy layer from the people who actually need the benefits, okay. So this is OBCs. Next topic which we're going to do is the Adivasis. Now Adivasi struggle. Who are the Adivasis? The scheduled tribes are social groups which are recognized by Indian Constitution. Okay, this is Constitution, as specially marked by poverty, powerlessness and social stigma. These three you have to mention. Now the Jana or the tribes were believed to be people of the forest. Adivasi, we all know they're people of the forest. Now their distinctive habitat in the hill and the forest areas, that was what shaped their economic, social and political attributes. Okay. So the boundaries between tribe and caste, they've already been explained in the previous video also. They have been quite porous, as tribal groups have had a long and close association with Hindu society, so one cannot say that tribe and caste are two different entities, okay? They are porous, so they've mixed over the years. Now, there are no areas of country which are exclusively inhabited by tribal people, which means that you cannot say that a particular area, is a tribal area. Now, there are only areas of tribal concentration. Tribal concentration, that there are certain areas where tribal people live more than the other area. Okay, and why is this happening? Because of migration. People, Adivasis tend to migrate because of they are in search of employment, as we all know. The colonial government, they reserved most of the forest tracts for its own use. We all know it, okay? Which severed the rights that Adivasis had exercised for long. Now, Adivasis, they had two rights. They gathered produce also from the forest, and they even practiced shifting cultivation. Okay, so both of them, they slash and burn, which is both of them they practiced. But what happened was, when colonial government reserved most of their tracts, most of the forests for themselves, their rights were encroached, Adivasis' rights. So what happened was, the mainstay of Adivasis was taken away. So the habitat where they stayed was taken away. Lives became poorer and more insecure. Now they knew that they couldn't use the forests. So they were even denied access to the forests. They were forced to use the forests illegally, or they were forced to migrate in search of wage labor. Now, independence also did not make life easier for the Adivasis. Why? Because as we've already studied, in case of caste, what happened was, for example, constitution in article 17, untouchability was abolished. But independence also did not make life easier for Adivasis. Why? Because monopoly was still there, but it was a government monopoly. Here also you have to use the entire word, okay? Government. Government monopoly over forest continued, and exploitation of the forest accelerated. Now, policy of capital intensive industrialization was adopted by the Indian government. Now, such a policy required mineral resources. They required power generation capacities. Again, this was all concentrated in Adivasi areas, which again led to displacement of millions of Adivasis. So such policies, they were justified in the name of national development and economic growth. These policies were actually a form of internal colonialism which subjugated the Adivasis. So we have to understand that in the name of national development and economic growth, the government has, encroached they have encroached the space, and they've tried to subjugate the Adivasis, and they've tried to take their rights also, because they used to collect produce also, they used to practice shifting cultivation also. So next what we do is we continue with the Adivasis. Now the term Adivasi literally means original inhabitants. Okay. Now this term was coined in 1930s as a part of the struggle against intrusion by colonial government and outside settlers and moneylenders. You might have heard the term Dikus, that was used for the outsiders. Now, therefore, being Adivasi is about shared experiences of loss of forest, because they've experienced this. Plus, it is the alienation of land, because forest tracts were initially, they were reserved by the colonial government, and then government monopoly was maintained after independence. Then repeated displacements due to development projects. Okay, in the name of development projects. Significant post-independent achievements may include, for example, attainment of statehood for Jharkhand and Chhattisgarh. So this is one of the significant independence achievements. So today we did 3 topics, and first was the distinction between tribe and caste, and second was OBC, and third is Adivasi struggle. So 5.3 video will be uploaded day after tomorrow. Okay, and if you have any recommendation, do write it in the comment section. If you like the video, please share and subscribe, and stay home, stay safe, and do study hard. Thank you.